can you tell us a bit more about a soulmate twin flame relationship, getting to the process where you actually attract that, and what you can expect in terms of people think there's going to be a wonderful hunky-dory, lovey-dovey relationship. Well, actually, it can be, but actually there's a lot of expansion in there as well, and a lot of growth.
Okay. I'm like, where do I start on this subject? Basically, when you ask for a soulmate, or when you ask for a twin flame, you're asking for your biggest mirror. We of course want that to be enjoyable, so it's not like most people have a twin flame coming towards them which is going to cause them a lot of contrast and it's going to be terrible. More likely it's going to be really enjoyable, but it will definitely push your buttons, because in a twin flame relationship you're going to be able to put up with a lot of things. I don't want to say put up with, but you'll take on things that you would have originally thought of as a deal breaker. In order to be a match to a person who is so closely your mirror, essentially, and somebody who's going to be in that enjoyable space, you have to be in a full space of self-acceptance. That's the most crucial vibration. In fact, there's nobody that doesn't that when people line up with their soulmates, nobody does that from any other vibration other than pure self-acceptance. So you'll find that a lot of times people get to that I give up phase before they're like, you know what, screw it. I'm either not going to have a relationship for the rest of my life, or I'm going to have total love. I'm not going to settle, and this is who I am. And if this is who I am, I'm going to ask for what I need, I'm going to ask for what I want. And that type of mentality puts us in the vibration where we're now a match to somebody who is going to accept us exactly as we are, which is really what we're talking about with a soul maiden twin flame relationship. So in order for us to attract that into our experience, we've got to get into the self-acceptance mode. That means we have to approve of things we hate about ourselves currently. And this is an interesting thing for people, and it's really, and it's funny because the people who are the least likely to meet their soulmates are spiritual people.
Yeah.
People are like, wait, what?
Yeah, because we're always on a journey to improve and expand and discover more things that we want to do that's better. And like about ourselves, I guess, and pick, the littlest faults about things that we don't like about ourselves.
Yep.
And there's always room for growth, always room for expansion. Yeah. So
which is like saying there's always room for different relationships that aren't my soulmate, because I can't accept myself enough to be a match to that person, which is exactly the vibration that we see from most spiritual self-help types.
Boy, have I experienced that.
Yeah, so it's like what we've got to do is flip that completely on end and pretend that we're a little more divas than that. And we've got to look at what you've got to pay attention to when it comes to attracting this into your life, or even experiencing a better life, because that's what is going to happen if you start loving yourself. You've got to start looking at the parts of you that you think are you. So, like, most likely, if we're in the self-help industry, or we're spiritual people and we're trying to improve ourselves, there's something about ourselves which we think is part of us. We've already accepted it, that it is part of us, but we don't like that. We're not okay with this. We're trying to change it. Maybe I am a procrastinator. So if I've decided that I'm a procrastinator, that is now a personality trait which I identify with myself. The second you identify with something, you can't make an enemy of it without making an enemy of yourself. So we're going to flip this on end completely, and we're going to accept and fall in love with the fact that we're a procrastinator. And that means that the person who comes into our reality is going to accept us exactly as we are. And there's not going to be a problem with the fact that we're procrastinators. See, we don't understand that things are a problem about us until somebody else tells us it is. Like mom or dad, or my work colleague or friend or wife or husband or whatever. So most of the reason that we condemn the aspects of ourselves that are part of ourselves is not actually emanating from us. It's not like, oh, I can't stand this about myself organically. No, it came from outside.
Yeah, it's somebody else's issue or a reflection of something that's mirroring what they've got going on in their life.
Yeah. And it feels different. That self-condemnation that is inspiring improvement, or I should say urging improvement, is a lot different than the inspiration that comes when you just genuinely want a different state. There's no resistance involved. If I just genuinely, let's say I'm a shy person, but I just genuinely want to be in front of the public eye, I won't feel that resistance to my own shyness that you get with people who need self-improvement. Instead, I'm going to sort of just feel inclined in that direction and everything's going to be inspiring me in that direction, I might feel a little bit of fear, but I'm not going to feel that resistance to me and who I innately am. That is your indication that you're in rejection to some part of yourself.
Yeah. And when you're in rejection to a part of yourself, you often don't attract that twin flame.
Not at all. Not even often. You can't. It's a literal vibrational impossibility.
But when you work on something that you're rejecting about yourself, you end up finding other things that you reject about yourself, and it's only when you truly approve and love yourself that you'll attract that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, through relationship coaching as well, and actually experiences of a lot of my friends, they kind of have this idea that they want this soulmate, but then they kind of give up halfway along the line and just settle for somebody and end up having a relationship, getting married, whatever, and you know, they're not really that happy. So what would you say to people like that?
I wouldn't really say hold out, but I'm the kind of person who understands that they're holding out and not being in relationships in order to get to the twin flame relationship is not the way to do it either. Because when you get into relationships along the line, even though they might not be that twin flame relationship, they will tell you more about your vibration. So it's like saying, I don't want to learn, I just want to get to the end step. But that's your learning process to get you to that step.
Absolutely, and you have to have a contrast in your life. So when you end up in a relationship that isn't your twin flame, you kind of learn from the contrast of what it is that you do not want and what you don't like, to know what it is that you do want to attract in your life. So you're clear about that, more focused on that. And then the next relationship, you can hopefully kind of attract that.